Before we resume our conversation, tawagin muna natin ang isa pa nating guest, who is a former public high school teacher and now a freelance ESL teacher for Koreans.
He's currently a project officer for Build Pilipinas, which is a volunteer organization that is at the forefront of fighting disinformation and polarization in the Philippines. Mr. Antonio Carranza.
Hello, hi Paolo, hi Sir Brian, hi Prof, and of course Mickey. Yeah, nice seeing you again.
Welcome po, sir.
Welcome po, sir.
Yeah, thank you and hi sa lahat ng mga manonood, hindi lang sa Pilipinas but of course all over the world. Yan.
Okay, can you tell us more about Build Pilipinas po?
Yeah, so ang Build Pilipinas is a volunteer organization. We are a network of volunteers and organizations actually. At talagang ang mission namin is we would like to be at the forefront of fighting disinformation, at least online, kasi naniniwala kami na ang laban talaga ay nasa social media.
Yan, Sir Anton, what are the programs or activities currently implemented by Build Pilipinas to fight disinformation and polarization in the Philippines?
So bali, what we're doing is like more on community building talaga, no? So volunteer-based na community building. These are people who are active on social media and who also share the same values and the same mission of fighting disinformation. So mayroon kaming mga communities of content creators as well because we believe na ang laban din sa social media is labanan ng kwento, no? So hindi siya labanan ng facts na gaya ng iniisip natin na ito tama, ito mali. Hindi. Ang ordinaryong tao, they don't care if it's factual or not. They care how entertaining something is, social media content is, 'di ba? So talagang kailangan nating mag-create ng mga kwento na 'yon na makaka-capture din ng imagination ng consumers ng social media. And through sa mga narratives, sa mga magagandang kwento na yon, doon natin ipapasok kung ano yung, 'di ba, what is truthful, 'di ba? And through that we could also counter fake news. So we would like to believe what we do is about creating social media capacity building kasi napaka-importante rin kasi kailangan nating ma-recognize na kung gusto nating labanan disinformation, saan tumatawid yung disinformation. So we have to have that social media infrastructure. Kasi kahit na puro factual naman yung sinasabi natin, kahit gaano kaganda yung kwento natin, kung wala naman siyang tinatawiran, tayo lang nag-uusap. Hindi natin masusolusyonan ang fake news if we don't agree tayong dalawa kasi iba yung view mo, iba yung sa akin, and we stop talking to each other. So yun yung gusto namin i-address sa Build Pilipinas. We need to start talking to each other regardless of anong political view mo or what. So yun nga, I would like to believe na yun yung main mission namin. Gusto namin tumawid sa kabila kasi at the end of the day, we're all Filipinos and we want, a vibrant democracy. So yun.
Siguro puntahan natin yung sinabi ni Anton tungkol doon sa persuasiveness, no? Bakit nga ba mas naniniwala yung mga tao sa fake news, no? Kung hindi man siya totoo, bakit paniwalang-paniwala pa rin tayo, no? Siguro i-underscore muna natin yung definition ng trolling, no? Kasi pag sinabi mong trolling, dati ang troll monsters yan, 'di ba? Pero ngayon, yung troll ginawa siya or isang term siya, no, na inadapt natin para doon sa mga tao or tao nga ba sila, 'di ba? That is created, no, in order to spread the disinformation, no. So sinabi nga dun sa article ni Dr. Ong and Dr. Cabañas, it's a network already. So ibig sabihin yung mga troll nandyan sila una para gumawa ng fake news, no. Pero ang pinakamas importante na gawain nila is pakalatin yung fake news, no. Mas kalat siya, no, sabi nga nila, mas may clout ka, no, mas tumitibay yung paniniwala ng mga tao sa fake news, no? So kung makikita natin yung article ni Dr. Ong and Dr. Cabañas, talagang hierarchical na yung ginagawa, no? Meron tayong mga public relations specialists, no, nag-hire sila ng mga tao talaga na i-spread yung information na ito, no? At tama yung sinabi ni Anton, in a span of seconds, thousands of likes na agad, no? On Facebook, on Twitter, and in different platforms, no? So talagang meron ng network of disinformation, no? At sadly, meron talagang mga tao sa likod, no, ng networks of disinformation na ito, no?
Ang major component nun, you're saying, is actually they're paid.
Yes.
Yun yung pinaka-main, they're not volunteers, it's not organic, they're paid.
At syempre, pupuntahan din natin yung kaakibat nun, no, na talagang there's an economy related to this information, no? Na kapag wala kang trabaho, 'di ba? At inoferan ka ng trabaho, syempre tatanggapin mo yung trabaho. So there's also a certain side of a story that sometimes we should see and we should analyze as well, no? So balikan natin yung trolling. At yung trolling na ito, hindi sila hindi sila mga ordinary citizens, no? Ito talaga yung mga experts in communication na talagang alam nila how to phrase a sentence, how to put pictures in those fake news para pag nakita mo agad siya sa screen mo, share ko na ito agad, no? For instance, ang daming mga nagsasabi, bakit nga ba hindi natin agad makikita na fake news ang isang news, no? Kasi unang-una pa lang, pag nakita mo siya sa feed mo sa Facebook, ay tatanggapin mo na agad na totoo siya. Lalo pag shinare siya ng kaibigan mo. 'Di ba? So talagang makikita natin, may influence tayo sa isa't isa. No? As shinare siya nung prof ko nung high school. So baka totoo siya. No? As shinare siya nung friend ko na feeling ko matalino naman yung friend ko. So isa-share ko din siya. No? Ikalawa, alam ng mga PR specialists na ito, yung language of virality. No? Ganito yan, no? Natatandaan nyo ba na may point tayo sa ating mga social media life na may free Facebook? 'Di ba? Yung free Facebook, while importante siya at maganda siya, no? It has also created a certain form of information consumer, no? Na ang nakikita lang nila yung headline. Kasi 'di ba pag free Facebook siya, makikita mo lang yung headline, pag click mo, kailangan mo nang magbayad, no? So, paano mo siya ngayon aayusin as disinformation? Dapat yung language mo very dramatic. No? Ginulat ng ganitong politiko ang mga tao kasi napakahusay niya, 'di ba? So the superlatives actually are very much persuasive kasi oo nga, no, mahusay siyang pangulo, mahusay siyang politiko kasi ang ginamit doon sa news ay napakahusay, no? Tapos marami ring lumalabas na sa mga fake news na ganito, ang ginagamit ng mga pictures, no, ay very much persuasive din, no. Kung napapansin nyo, either yung ito, no, sinasabi kasi fake news din daw or disinformation is very much gendered, no. Ibig sabihin may kinikilingan din siyang gender, no. For instance daw, may mga fake news articles na kapag lalaki yung politikong kanilang gustong i-persuade na iboto, no, very regal, very credible, no, very strong yung mga pictures na pinapalabas, no? When you go to women politicians na gusto nilang siraan, no? Usually yung umiiyak, yung female politician, or yung mahina, yung female politician sa photos, no? At ang importante pa doon, hindi mo kasi makiklik yung picture or hindi mo makiklik kasi kailangan magbayad ka na ng data, no? So that free Facebook, and even up to now, no, ay makikita ko lang yung information na ganito, tatanggapin ko siya as katotohanan. So, meron ding persuasive factor yung mga ganitong balita kasi alam na alam nila kung paano kuhanin ang kiliti ng mga nanonood, no? Kasi attention economy tayo. So, pag binigyan natin to ng attention, siya na yung trending sa susunod.
Unfortunately, social media is popularity contest.
Yes.
Yan yung sinasabi ni Prof. Charles. Gusto ko rin lang palalimin pa yun, no? So I would like to touch more on what Prof said about yung free Facebook. Actually, napakalaking advantage nun, especially sa mga remote communities sa Pilipinas, no? Pero ang mga political operators talaga, they always find a way to weaponize social media. We see this information in terms of 3 major cycles. Or phases of disinformation, tawag natin doon. The first one is message creation, the second one is content creation, and the third one is content distribution. So nagsisimula sa kwento, ano ba yung magandang kwento? Something appealing, something na nakaka-excite sa imagination ng mga tao. And after that narrative, i-repackage ngayon yan ng mga influencers. Mga paid influencers din to, mga micro and macro influencers din. After the repackaging, saka naman pinupush ng mga trolls para lalo pa siyang kumalat. Okay? Pero dito pa lang sa message creation, kalat na yan. Pero lalo pang pinupush ng troll. So during the campaign, talagang yung unit namin, we were facing the trolls. No? So we were doing the dirty work. And ang hirap niya, and we thought at first na yung kalaban talaga yung trolls. Pero actually, mga ano rin to gaya ng sinasabi ni Prof, you know, we have this information economy na hindi mo ma-blame yung tao. During the pandemic, walang trabaho, di ba? 300, 350, babayad sa'yo isang araw just to distribute content. hindi mo naman alam, mafa-fact check pa yan kung fake news ba yan o hindi. Ang utos lang sa'yo, i-distribute mo to, you're paid 300 pesos. So hindi pumapasok yung prinsipyo or yung political leaning mo, it's just work, right? So at first we thought trolls are the enemies, but actually they are just a manifestation of a bigger, influence operations. So ganun siya. So kung gusto nating labanan yung fake news, yung disinformation sa social media, we also have to work on that context. So ganun siya.
So thank you very much po for sharing your insights. Pero I'm so sorry po, nag-overtime na po tayo.
Oo nga, Prof. Charles, Ma'am Mickey, and Sir Anton. Okay lang ba for us to continue our conversation next week para sa ating episode 7? Magbabalik pa po kami
Dito lamang sa
Cyberchat Season 3.
I think this is how the politicians are weaponizing this information now. There is this increasingly underground digital version of the campaign where a lot of the toxic stuff happens. It's where a lot of the attacks are happening, all the disinformation is happening.
Disinformation campaigns can also be used to systematically manipulate political discourse. And in the Philippines, paid trolls were hired to spread disinformation as early as 2016. According to a report by Mercy Corps, these campaigns play out in 3 phases: the development of core narratives, onboarding of influencers and fake account operators, and dissemination and amplification on social media. In a press conference on July 25, 2017, then-President Rodrigo Duterte admitted to hiring trolls during the 2016 campaign period. Investigations revealed Facebook was used to reinforce positive narratives about his campaign, amplify targeted messages, and silence dissent. In a rural area, hours from Manila, Undercover Asia tracks down a paid troll.
Dati kasi, 3 years na ako dito sa trabaho ito. Dati, nung nagtatrabaho ako sa hotel sa Manila, yung nagpasok sa akin dito, binibigyan niya na ako ng extra like gumagawa ng mga fake accounts, gumagawa ng mga captions. So yun, hindi pa ako full-time. So pumutok yung pandemic, dito na ako nag-full-time.
In her early 30s, Sharon lives with her family and has to support them.
Sa umaga kasi kailangan pakain ng mga manok, na yung mga manok dito. Check mo yung mga kalabaw. So yun, tapos magluluto ng almusal, kakain kayo, maghanap. So yun, pagkatapos noon, doon na ako gagawa ng trabaho ko.
Sharon is part of a large for-hire market available in the Philippines. The country has one of the lowest wages in the world, with the average monthly salary of $204. According to a report published by NATO in 2020, a troll in the Philippines can potentially earn up to $1,350 a month. This is almost 7 times of what an average person in the Philippines earns, making trolling financially lucrative.
Nagtatrabaho kasi dahil ito yung nagtawid sa akin ng pandemic. So madali din sa akin ito kasi SIM card lang naman yung sandata ko dito.
Plugging into the online sphere allows Sharon to work from home or anywhere for that matter. However, she doesn't know who her colleagues or bosses are.
Ito kasi illegal to kaya hindi sila nagpapakilala. So, yun, hindi na rin namin tinatanong kasi importante naman makapag-payout kami. Importante naman mahatid namin sa kanila yung mga gusto nilang trabaho.
Sharon goes on to reveal that she has been gearing up for the 2022 election season as she's received instructions from political parties and their campaign teams.
Yun yung trabaho ko na i-promote yung kandidato na yun. So yun yung gagawin ko.
First, she lays the groundwork.
Gumagamit kami ng iba't ibang SIM card, gumagawa kami ng mga fake profile, kumukuha kami sa iba't ibang...
Then she executes her mission: spread lies to as many people as possible. Her daily target is at least 150 shares. She uses fake profiles to infiltrate popular groups on social media.
Pumapasok kami sa napakalaking mga grupo, like ng OFW, napakalaki nila yan. May mga iba, yung mga sawi sa pag-ibig, napakaraming grupo din yan. Yung sinasabi sa amin is 3,000 up ang pinapasok namin. May mga 50K.
To get as much engagement as possible, she targets their weak spot, their emotions.
Kung ano yung kinoment sa akin, kinoment dun sa link, sinasagot ko siya ng sarcastic para maging mas emotional yung sasagot sa akin. Lalo silang magagalit kapag sinagot mo sila ng sarcastic. Yun yung strategy namin na mas maganda para mas humaba pa yung mga comments sa mga link.
Her job supports her family financially, but they don't exactly know what she does.
Alam nila na ganito, nagko-comment lang ako. Like usual, alam naman nila yung Facebook na pagka nag-comment ka sa isang link, gano'n. Pero hindi nila alam talaga, yung tunay talaga na ito illegal.